This film's basically CSI Second Life. It has all premise and no pulse. When they could have explored humanity and ethics, they instead made basically Law and Order Special Wig Victim Unit. What's one of your favorite Bruce Willis sci-fi movies? It's day 75 of 365. Today's movie, Surrogates. Directed by Jonathan Mostow and starring Bruce Willis, Rosamund Pike, and Ving Rhames. I went to see this one as a teen because I was a huge fan of Bruce Willis at the time. I had seen all of the movies he had made up to that point, just going through his Wikipedia page and checking off each one as I went. When this film released, I was excited for some Bruce Willis sci-fi. The trailers made it look like it might be one part iRobot, one part Terminator. And to be honest, that is kind of what we got here. But we didn't get a good version of that, and that was really upsetting to me as a teen. This one's actually based on a comic book, which makes it the second movie that Bruce Willis made based on a comic book, if you don't count Unbreakable, which is not based on a comic, but about comics. I don't want to get lost in the weeds here. We talked about this one on Film Rescue because the premise is really fucking good. This is excellent story writing, and that's why the comic works so well. The movie adaptation loses all of the teeth of the comic and therefore gets kind of turned into PG-13 action sci-fi slop. They're trying to make iRobot, but where we're inside of the robots instead of working alongside the robots. Again, this could have worked, but they don't take it to the places it needed to be taken to really get this premise to shine. My recent rewatch reminded me why I forgot so much of it from when I first saw it in theaters. There's not a lot here to remember. It uses detective noir as kind of like a crutch without really doing anything cool with that kind of stuff. And as it dances around the premise, it kind of loses all of its steam every 10 minutes and has to reinvest by inventing reasons for action sequences. Also, small side note, but the effects of his choice at the end of the movie to shut down the surrogate program would have resulted, I imagine, in lots of deaths, right? Like, imagine a surrogate pilot getting shut down and then crashing into people's homes where they're inside of their surrogate machine. That would have killed them. So it's even hard for me to watch this and feel like he's accomplished anything by the end of the movie other than a gigantic terrorist act. Not here for gripes. If you'd like to hear those, you can actually go to YouTube and type in Film Rescue Surrogates and see our 20-minute review of what we were talking about is wrong with this movie. I had to dig deep for this one, but I did find 3 things that I liked about Surrogates, so let's get into those. Like I said at the top, the first thing I really love about this is the premise. This is an excellent idea, something that is probably going to become a potential future for us in real life, making this movie retroactively probably pretty prophetic, if not a great movie. I think that the premise at hand here, what if we could put ourselves into robotic bodies, have avatars that don't exactly reflect our physical appearance, and navigate our world with that extra degree of separation? What does that do to our humanity? That's a really cool setup for a movie. The payoff is not so good, but I like what we're doing with the premise here. In the comic book, the loss of humanity is at the very center of the story. The story actually concludes with his wife killing herself and him sitting on the bed next to her. That's it. It's such a dark place because this comic is making the argument that if we are to lose our humanity, we will lose what makes us emotional, living creatures and become as robotic as the androids that our consciousnesses would inhabit. I love that as an idea, and had this movie been maybe a full 2 hours and directed a little better and known what it was going for, I imagine this is a movie that would have been remembered as a cult classic, something asking really important questions, and putting Bruce Willis in the lead is putting an actor in the lead that would have been able to give us that kind of performance. I brought up Unbreakable at the beginning. He's an actor that can always deliver if he's asked to deliver, but he's not asked to deliver on a lot here other than play a kind of cold, inhuman, Terminator-esque cop that is dealing with a cold, inhuman world, and we're not going to do much else with that. The second thing I really like about this movie, and yes, I know I just accused this movie of having action sequences for action sequences' sake. What was removed from the comic was the killer using grappling hooks like Spider-Man with android-killing gauntlets. This was a really, really cool sci-fi setup that they just pulled out entirely. But what we got instead, and what I will praise here, is the Terminator chase sequence in the middle of the movie. Bruce Willis loses an arm on his android while he's chasing what we think is our killer, And this whole sequence ends up being the highlight of the movie for me now. Watching it at the time, it didn't really stick with me much. Watching it now, I understood more of what they were going for. A little more media literacy goes a long way. But I find that this Terminator chase sequence really works. I wish the movie could have been more like that, maybe even a little more focused, a little more street level, could have added a lot more. The times where it's talky, it's not talking about important things, and the times where it's actiony, is at least doing good action, so let me give them props for that one. The third and final thing that I like about this movie are the little moments where it is able to capture what the film is about. I hate to poo-poo a whole movie, and there are lots of creatives on display here that are doing their jobs really well. There's a moment between Bruce Willis and Rosamund Pike where they're discussing aspects of their marriage, of their life together, of their life in this world, and moments like that really strike. I think that the movie could have taken a lot more of that overall, but I was pleasantly surprised from what I remembered to find moments like this where it's really talking about the cool aspects and the uncool aspects of living in this kind of world. I was impressed that they took the time to at least give us one emotionally resonant scene for them to really act out through. These are two incredible actors, like I said earlier, and so giving them that opportunity at least once in the film was a good thing in my opinion. But what do you think? Are you gonna check out Surrogates if you haven't seen it before, or have I done a little too much damage? And would you rather just watch iRobot? Either way, we're sticking with sci-fi for our next one. We're talking about Pandorum next. And as always, I'll see you tomorrow.